Recording. Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
Um, just for the people, Andrea is a great friend of mine, and when I'm around her, I can just chat about everything. Like I think we can just talk about so many things that I don't feel the time going by. I feel like we connect on so many different things like psychology, motivation, spirituality. Like when we had our talks, we could just hop on other subjects, our place in life, connection with other people, human beings, and etc. So, hi, Andrea, and it is super nice to catch up with you. I really liked your calm energy. And when you were around me, and now you live far away, and I just wanted to do a podcast with you about the new year and also general stuff. So,
Mm.
I'm very glad and grateful to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. And yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
And it's almost a year since we had that discussion about having this conversation on a
Yeah.
podcast. Can you imagine that?
But we made it. We made it within the
And
year.
yeah,
So
we
this
did
is
it. We
great.
did it.
Um, so just before we dive into the podcast, would you like to say some words on you more than what I have said?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, Andrea. I'm Andrea Grant, and I have been basically living in Germany for the last 5 years or so, 3 to 5 years, and I've been on a spiritual journey, and I've been exploring adventures and living life's experiences, and I think that's what brought us together too, Ha-Meem.
Yeah, this is where we connect.
That's what we connected.
Um, so just for the preface for the people who will watch, this discussion is part of a new chapter for us. So I'm no more digging up into the past to understand who we are, but more going around and having discussions with my dear friends to have some tools for of what is going around me this time. And yeah, moving peacefully into life. And yeah. So
Okay.
this is the preface. So this time, my guest is Andrea, and I am so grateful that she is here to dive in. Andrea, could you
Mhm.
tell me what has been your relationship with spirituality? In what faith did you grow up? And as an adult, what faith did you maintain?
Yeah, so I have predominantly been Christian, and I grew up in Jamaica as a child, and there the religion is primarily Christianity.
Mm.
And through that, I was very interested in exploring more and learning more about spirituality. In fact, at that point it was only Christianity I knew about. And I had no, I mean, of course, I knew there were other religions around, but living in Jamaica, the religion was Christianity, the only religion, basically. I mean, we have Rastafarianism and so on, but predominantly, my life was around Christianity. And my belief and my faith and my practices were of the Christian faith. But then the more I traveled, the more I was exposed to other cultures and other religion and other practices. And that was a little bit eye-opening for me because then I started to explore more and I started to learn more and I became more inquisitive as I wanted to understand more. And through that journey, I started to, experience new spiritual practices, which helped me to mature in my spiritual faith, in my spiritual practices. And then I started to ask questions of myself, like what makes this work? in the Hindu faith, and what makes this work in the Christian faith, and what makes this work in the Muslim faith. And I was asking these questions of myself, and through that, I was exploring. And even through my friendships, because I had friends who were Hindus, friends who were Muslims, friends who were, of course, Christians. And I just kept probing and asking questions. But the most important or the most interesting question I kept asking was, what are the similarities between the religions? And then that defined for me spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
I started to think about there were common practices that were very strong in helping me to understand myself and also helping me to become a better person. And I started to think about what were these practices that were actually helping me to develop spiritually. And some of the practices I thought about were like the prayer. We all have that in common.
Yeah.
And but the way how we prayed was different. And I thought to myself, and you were really helpful with that because we had an experience. I
Yeah.
went I went to with you during Ramadan to the prayer, and that was a very interesting exploration of how the Muslims prayed. And I thought to myself, oh, there is a great connection because you're not only sitting and praying, but there are movements.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, there is a great connection between spirituality and physical fitness.
Exactly.
I said to myself, wow, now I started to think about spirituality again now in a different way. I started
Mm,
to connect it with health and
mm,
fitness. And and then I started to think about other practices. So I started to do more exercising, watching my diet,
mm.
and then I'm realizing it's not only about prayer, but spirituality is really about a holistic approach to one's life.
Yeah. It's a
So
framework that you have to towards a better well-being. And it's a holistic well-being, as you're saying, being good in your mind and also being good in your body.
exactly.
Mm,
So it's mind, body, soul. So
mm,
spirit, mind, body, the three things are so well connected.
mm.
And if one of the three is not functioning, then there is a disconnection.
Yeah.
So that's basically, yeah.
So, is there any one faith that you ascribe yourself now, or you are open to all of them? You
I'm
make your
still
mixture.
I'm making my mixture. I'm still exploring.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, if I had to respond to what
Mm,
religion, then it would be Christianity at the core.
yeah.
But I have seen the benefits of all religious practices, of all
Yeah.
religion, of
Mhm.
all, and so my spiritual journey is about prayer, my spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, eating healthy,
Yeah.
exercising, nature walk, fasting, which is
Exactly.
common across all religion. And
Mm.
so if I thought about my practices, I could be
They're
associated
common.
with Muslims or
Yeah.
Hindus or
Yeah.
Christians.
Exactly. They fit in everything. It's true. So, I think I had a second question, but I think we touched upon it. You travel continents, and you picked up on other spirituality basically through exposure. I remember that we took a walk in October 2023. And you were telling me about that you have a copy of Quran and that you're trying to understand it. You also talked me about intermittent fasting that you found Ramadan so incredible. And we went to that prayer, that prayer in the mosque together. So, what I'm curious about is how did you stumble upon these things? Like, what made you introduce them? And And secondly, people are so in like they have been born in one faith and they have blinders and they evolve in that faith. And what made you open-minded just to, take off these blinders and say, what's happening?
Yeah. Well, I think it has to do with the fact that I started to travel and to
Mm,
realize that it didn't matter what religion I was, it didn't matter what race I was, it didn't even matter what gender I was. These things that we call diversity, that's a positive term. But the negative term to it is the things that divide us, the
exactly.
race, the
Difference.
gender, and so on. And I started to think of these things in the positive light as diversity. And that made me realize that, guess what? We're all the same. We have the same challenges. And I couldn't justify the discrimination because of these barriers. And the more I recognize that we are all
The same.
creating barriers for ourselves through race, through gender, through religion, through culture, and so on, the more I started to see that there is also the possibility that what if we should change that mindset and start to more embrace the concept of diversity and start to find the harmony in these differences.
Exactly.
And that was what led me into being more open to different religious practices
Mm.
and being open to new culture, to try new food, to try new things, to have new experiences.
Yeah,
And
you
I
are an
think that
ovni
has
for
changed my
me.
life.
You are an
Okay.
ovni for me, like someone who's trying everything and
Yeah.
yeah, this open-mindedness, I don't think I have encountered it so much. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we have the same challenges. We're having the same problems, the same things that are affecting every race, the same things that bring sorrow.
yeah,
It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter what 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 spiritual practices we are all at the core humans.
yes, it's true.
Mhm.
So, are you searching for something? Like, do you feel something when you encounter practices that are
Mm.
different or similar? Are there any answers you're looking for?
I'm always searching, and I don't know if it will ever stop. And I'm always asking new questions. And because every time I discover something new, it leads me to another question.
Yeah, yeah.
And you talked about intermittent fasting. I kind of stumbled on that, by the way. It wasn't really, well, I didn't think of it in a spiritual light at first. I wanted to get physically fit and in shape. And I thought to myself, what can I do? I thought, oh, going to the gym, exercising, that's how you get in shape. And then I was a little bit disappointed because I was exercising every day, but I was still not losing weight. I wanted to lose
Mm,
weight, nothing was happening. And then my personal trainer said to me, well, if you want to lose weight, it's about your diet. And then I thought to myself, oh, well, then I need to now start to focus on dieting. And I met a doctor who talked about the only real chance you have is to fast. And I thought to myself, fasting is really the way to lose weight. And he says, it's the only chance. And I thought, well, I will try it because, and this is where the spiritual side came in. I would try it because it is biblical. That was my
mm,
main core reason for saying, yes, I will give this a try. And I fasted for 5 days,
yeah.
only water. And he said, you will not die. You will not die if you
Mm,
don't eat for 5 days. And I thought, for me, this was something that was never practiced in my Christian faith.
Mm.
The Bible speaks about it, it's biblical, but I never thought about fasting for 5 days. I thought I would die. And I did it because, again, from my divine faith, I knew that it was written. And in every religion, it's there. So I
Exactly.
said, well, what do I have to lose? And I started to do fasting. And that changed my life
It
completely.
became a habit for you. I have always seen you intermittent fasting.
Oh my God. It's amazing. It's not only that, it's almost like you become a new creation at the end of the fast.
Mm.
There's so much clarity in your mind and your
Exactly.
body and this level of energy that I've never experienced before. I could not imagine that without eating, I was now tapping into a new source of energy inside of the body itself.
Exactly. And this is
And so
one of the
it has become,
paradox. Yeah.
yeah, it's a paradox.
Yeah.
And so it has become almost like a lifestyle for me now.
It's true. In Ramadan, like we should have more less energy because we're not eating. But after a few days, it's about purifying because you're just decluttering like eating takes so much of your time. Eating, cooking, all of this. And you're decluttering your routine a little bit to give more time to other things that maybe you have been putting aside. And you just, yeah, purify your routine, you purify your body as well in the process.
Mhm.
And suddenly yeah, you can dive into another portal, energy portal where you can have more energy.
And it actually led me into realizing too that it it leads me into other areas of my spiritual practices. For example, who would have thought that by fasting you could become kinder? Because I thought to myself, well, if I'm not eating, then all that money that I would have wasted buying, consuming things that I don't need, that could have been channeled into another direction.
Exactly.
And, and so I realized, there's a complete connection between all the different aspects of spirituality because you also need to become more giving, more caring, more
Exactly.
considerate to others. And through this practice of just fasting, I made that connection with other sides of life.
Mm.
I never thought it was so easy to give as before even considering fasting.
That's fascinating. And
Mhm.
also, I think you become more empathetic as well because you know the hunger.
Mhm.
You know how is it like to deprive yourself.
Mhm.
This is voluntary, but then it can also happen when you don't have, and you're more endurant, first of all, because you know you have trained your body to be
Mhm.
so. And also
Mhm.
you became more empathetic towards people who have less and say, oh, they are going to forced intermittent fasting and they don't have the choice. And so you're more kinder as well.
Yes, awesome.
We have 20 minutes left. I have so many questions. You run a productivity workshop. Is it for like to train particular people or is it for professional activity? Where is it coming from?
Yeah, so I also have a train on the professional side. I have a training business or project management. So it's really for professionals who want to upskill in the area of project management. So that's part of personal development and growth because it's a certification training
Hmm.
and so
Where
yes.
can people find you?
Oh, frameworkprojects.com, that's our website, and the company is Framework Projects, so you can find me there.
Okay, super.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, general questions. What has
Mhm.
the year 2024 represented for you? I remember we talked about manifestation and the goals and the mindset. We dive into a certain direction and the results we can get. How did this year went for you?
2024 was a year of changes for me, major changes, changing of job, city, moving to another city, learning a new language. I've gotten more focused on that. Setting new goals. So in the middle of the year, I started to set new goals for myself, um, health goals as well. Getting ready now for a marathon and
Um, I
triathlon. So,
remember, I remember last year you also had the muscles, and I was like, I was seeing them. I said, "Oh, Andrea, this is so nice. I also want these toned up muscles."
oh my God. All right, so I'm just enjoying life, even through the obstacles, by the way.
Yeah,
And that's another level of spiritual maturity for me because I never, before I'm like, these challenges of life, they're going to overtake me. I lost my job and,
yeah,
career change and don't know what's going on. But through all of that, I still managed to remain grounded and centered and still trying to focus. And then I've also realized that, life never gets really easy. I've just I've just accepted that. And before that was always my question, when does it get easy? And that question just brought a lot of anxiety for me. It used to. And now my self-talk is a little different. It's more like life is happening to all of us. It's just about how we react to it.
exactly.
Um, so
And also, if life gets easy, it's also boring.
it's
Imagine in
boring.
the in this huge space in time, we have a tiny life. And if this life is so smooth and it's, you just come and enjoy and go by, then your whole, like, when we will die and we will still exist, I don't know if our soul is gonna be somewhere, and we will come back on this life and we'll say, oh, we did nothing.
Yeah,
So these
exactly.
challenges also make it entertaining and
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. We're on a journey. And another thing too that I've matured in understanding is nothing lasts forever.
yeah,
Because it's through that understanding that I've come to realize that this law of impermanence.
yeah,
Because the moment you start to realize or recognize that um, this moment is only now,
yeah,
you will not have it again. It will
exactly,
not exist again in the next year. It's a different time, moment in time. And
exactly.
so I try now. Now I'm at the stage where I try not to miss the moment
Yeah,
because I know that it will not come back.
exactly. We can reproduce it, but the people will be different, time will be different, space will be different. And so
Everything.
people will not be at the same point in their life. So it's gonna be different.
My son said it the best. I remember one day we were driving in the car. He was maybe about 10 or maybe 9. And he had his phone. And I was, I said, "What's up?" And he said, "Well, Mom, the camera is the greatest invention." And I said, why do you say that? And he says to me, "It's the only way to freeze time. Because when I take a photo, it's really just this
And
moment
yeah,
in time. It will
yeah,
never come back.
exactly.
It will, once it's gone, it's gone." And so and then that also leads me into another spiritual practice, which is gratitude.
Yeah, for everything.
Because, sometimes we have one bad moment in our day, and this one bad moment, it's just 1 minute that it's bad.
And we
but then it
exploded.
consumes the 24 hours of the entire day. And I'm self-reflecting. This is happening to me as well. So I've recognized, I've stopped, I've reflected, and this is also bringing me to the next point of self-awareness.
It's
Because
true.
sometimes I'm having a bad day, and it's just one moment in time that's bad, and it's affected my entire day. I stop, I reflect, and I said, hold on. Why have I allowed this one moment to overtake my entire day?
It's true. It's true. You shouldn't do, yeah, we should just stop and say, okay, one moment is just worth one moment.
One
And then
moment.
you have all other splits of seconds that you could enjoy more.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
It's not
You're brave
easy.
and courageous if you're doing it, mature, because it's not easy to achieve. We usually tend to focus on negative things more.
Yeah.
And as you're talking about gratitude, I also, this year, I would consciously come home and write down 10 positive things from my day. And also, so in the beginning of the year, I made a jar where I would say energy saving. So I would have bad thoughts like, okay, go and do this. And I knew that it would cause anxiety or it would further nurture my negative thoughts. And I said, I don't want to go there. And I would say, save energy on this, save energy on
Mm,
this. So every time I would have a bad thought, I would immediately write it down, save energy on this. And
mm,
by the end of the year, I don't have energy saving jar anymore because I focus on positive things. So I
mm.
have completely shifted the way I was thinking. I was spending too much energy on negative things and not
Yeah.
seeing that there were good things happening in my
Yeah.
life.
And then the next point too is that it's human nature, by the way, to focus on negative things. It's
That's
natural.
true.
And
Mhm.
then what you have done, you have used a very powerful technique that helped you to move away from negative energy. Another thing that we can do too, which helped me, is goal setting.
Goal
So the more
setting, yeah.
goal setting, yes. So the more I focus on a goal and the more I am dedicated to getting that done, it's the less time I have for those negative energy.
That's true.
And that's one method I've used that
It's
has
the
been working.
perfect segue for our next question. What is on your vision board for 2025?
That's a good question. So I'm using this new technique that's called postcard to the future.
Yeah.
Postcard to the future. So how it works is you write as if you have already accomplished that vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if for example you wanted to, I'm just using something, you wanted to have a car in 2025, let's say that's your vision. And that's on the vision board. Well, the postcard to the future would already, on that card, you would already say what it feels like now that you have the car.
Oh,
And you will write as if it is now, it is happening in the
mm,
present moment. So I found that to be an exciting, fun way to
yeah.
bring those visions, the future, closer to the present.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to?
I have some goals, health goals, financial goals. What else do I have on my professional goals? I have quite a bit of goals that I
Mm,
have. So I've actually compartmentalized my life into these areas. I
mm.
have friendship goals. I have yeah, I
Personal
have
life
goals.
goals. Mm,
So there are just so many things that I am working on currently.
mhm.
And yeah, for 2025. Let's see. When it happens, we'll talk about them some more.
Okay, let's do it. We have a little bit less than, yeah, 8 minutes. So I will ask some human questions. How do you deal with some things? How do you navigate sorrow, be it a heartbreak, a separation, or a professional setback? You said you have changed your vision a little bit. Could you give me advice?
Yeah, about the sorrow, how to navigate sorrow. Not easy to do because sorrow is difficult, it's painful, and we all go through it. And that this is the next part of my maturing through this spiritual journey. I always thought, I'm the only one who is suffering. I've always thought, when I'm going through sorrow, I always thought, I'm the only one in the world that's having this pain.
Why
Now I've
me?
matured. Yeah, why me? Yes, thank you. That's still usually the question, why me? Why, right? Not
Mm,
recognizing compassion that others are also experiencing
mm,
similar or even greater sorrow. One of the techniques I've used when I go through sorrow is first acknowledge it. Then, once I've acknowledged it, I'm not, and I don't try to suppress the feeling. I'm also acknowledging the feeling that I have, and I'm embracing that feeling. Whether it be through crying, through sometimes you go into seclusion, you want to be alone, you have your alone time. That's also necessary. I recognize that. Do not try to suppress it, those feelings, acknowledge them. First step. But don't stay there. You still need to do those routine tasks in your life. So even when you're not feeling like it, still go and do the exercise. Even if you're not feeling like it, still go and do the prayer. Still give gratitude. And this will help you to deal with the sorrow even better. It takes time. Sometimes healing takes time, and we acknowledge that. And sometimes the pain may never really go away. If you
mm.
have lost a loved one, that pain may never really go away,
Yeah,
but you have learned how to manage it. And
exactly.
some of these are and seek support.
Yeah.
That's also important. Find a way to have positive energy around you, people who are uplifting. Right? Okay, yeah,
Someone
so.
said to me this year that you have to recognize if you're an energy giver or you're an energy taker, and
Mhm.
and then organize your friendships around that. If you are an energy giver, you also need energy givers. So you can balance it. You can give and take, and you
Yeah,
don't feel drained after that. So
yes.
having these energies around and recognizing that this exists, why do you feel so much drained? It's because there's an exchange of energy.
Mhm.
How do you feel happy? How do you be happy?
Yeah, happiness is, I've recognized that happiness is a conscious decision that I make every day. I'm only happy because I have decided that I will be happy. I could always make the challenges of life overtake me, and that's easy to do.
Mm,
And it's happening to many. But happiness is just that choice that although I'm having these challenges in life, at the core, I will remain centered. I will give gratitude because there is always something to be thankful for. And this is how I try to keep myself happy.
mm.
Mm.
So I have much more questions, but maybe I will reserve them for another episode. Is there anything you would like to share? Anything you would like to add before we end this podcast?
I think, for the viewers, 2025 is going to be the year that we make it or we break it. We make it what it will be. And one of the most important things we can do is to set goals for ourselves, um, understand what we can control and what we cannot control, and do the things that make you happy,
Yeah.
which it could mean going for nature walks, do that thing. Having those friendship, those conversations, do that thing. But whatever it takes, the mental health is important. So we have the three sides of man, the soul, the spirit, the mind, the body. And we need to keep those three things in check. So for 2023, I hope that we'll be focusing on these three areas.
On 2025.
2025. Thank you.
We are moving forward. Thank you so much, Andrea. I am so, so much grateful that you came. And I will take this opportunity to say how much I love you and how much I miss you. And it's really crazy that we meet crazy people like ourselves, like meet a better reflection of ourselves. And my prayers and my thoughts are with you, and I will cherish you throughout our journey together.
Thank
And
you.
I'm hoping to see you again, see you soon on this podcast, wherever. Thank you,
Yeah.
Andrea.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thanks, Amin. Okay, bye-bye.